Welcome to Golf in the Good Life, your guide to golf travel across the pond. I'm DJ Jones, joined as always by my good friend Connor Evers, and today we are excited to kick off a new series called Just Returned. As the name implies, we'll be interviewing H&B members who have just returned from their recent expeditions. Our first guest is Dan Wood. Dan hails from Greenville, South Carolina, and is a member at the Currahee Club in Northeast Georgia. He's also a pretty great player. We happen to know that his H&B resume includes a 71 on the old course. We talked a little golf, a little good life, and a little advice for those who are counting down to their own expeditions. So without further ado, here's our conversation with Dan Wood. Well, Dan, look, it might be a little late to say it, but welcome home. We are really excited to have you here today talking golf and the good life for a little while.
Well, thank you guys. I think golf's one of the great conduits in life. And as we told our caddies, I played great courses with bad people. It's not fun. Any course with good people, especially walking, is a delight. Big Haversham Baker fan because of the excellence. You guys get it right. And I'll say this right up front, DJ, I told you, that average age of our group was about 66. And I'm telling you, a bunch of old men got jacked up about an app. Thank you. This is a treat to be on with you guys.
Well, it's our pleasure. And we are definitely off and running. I'm going to kind of skip the usual bio stuff that I think by the end of the episode, folks are going to know quite a bit about Dan Wood, and we're excited to hear it. But, as you mentioned, you've been a great friend to H&B for coming a decade now.
Yeah.
You just returned from your third expedition. I know you've been over other times as well. And so your resume of links golf is getting to be pretty lengthy. What is it about links golf that keeps you going back after all these years?
Two things for me. I grew up rural. We played the ground a long time ago when I grew up in North Carolina. We'd go to Pinehurst some, but that was high dollar for us. We weren't poor, nothing like that. But we played rural country golf. My highlight as a high school junior was driving my dad's Ford tractor to a golf match because my car was out of gas in the driveway. I got laughed at by my team. I got laughed at by the other teams. Not bragging, but 69 strokes later and medalists for the day, they all shut up. But I say that I've always loved the creativity, not of the golfer, but of the golf designer. Whether it was rural, whether it was Donald Ross, whatever. I love the ground. I really do, which over there is forced. The heavy wind, the routing, where pins are, there's certain things, from that standpoint. The other's the setting, though. And you guys know this better than I do. They're at London Links. I think of it from Scotland. Very simple. Phenomenal little routing. Down here by the water, and then you take this little expedition for 3 or 4 holes up on this ridge. So I think there's that. I think the features, I love the intimidating features of the fescue and the high stuff. And what I think is really funny is it's a lot of it's not even in play unless you hit a horrid golf shot. It's optics. We saw that on, I think it was Port Stewart, like that front nine. All this intimidating stuff. But then our caddy goes, that's 100 yards off center line. And yet our guys are saying, man, do you see that bunker? Do you see the fescue? Well, do you see the 75-yard fairway? So I just think it's inviting. I do think it's incredibly fair because you can still go high if you want to play in the air, but your better routes are the ground. I think that the contours, I think the shadows, there's just something about it that's very inviting to the eye. And again, the trips we've been on is not just me. Other guys get that. I do think the thing that's helped it is that they brought that over here to the States decades ago. So some of our best courses now in the U.S. are quote unquote links, oceanside, waterside golf courses. That design, even here in Greenville, South Carolina, Gary Player did a Cliffs community course called Mountain Park. He did it in what he called a links style. So I think that's probably helped our like of it too. Some of the best courses we can go to here are technically those type courses. And it's attracted us to that kind of golf.
Oh, that just music to our ears, and it's definitely true. And I think the one thing I always think of, I played Brora last year up in the Highlands, and then I've played North Berwick a couple of times, and it's amazing. Like you said, the features they're all right there, bunkers and what have you, but the wind really like plays so much of a factor into the holes.
Right.
I mean, Brora, I mean, when I played it, it's 9 out and 9 back, and it's all all the same direction. And when I played, it was downwind, and it's fire away and coming in. You got to pull your pants up a little bit more and get a score into the clubhouse. So you said it perfectly.
Well, I think the other thing is what downwind is not necessarily easier. You get to the point where sometimes you can't stop the golf ball. I mean, you can't control your caddy, over there, that key word, get the weight right. We would say distance, but get the weight, get it trundling, so forth. Sometimes downwind, it's hard to stop it. That's part of it too. If unless you're embarrassed or your ego gets out of control, which I don't know why a golfer would let it happen, but we know it does, the shots you're going to see on a links course, you won't see anywhere else. Royal County down, first hole, pull left up on the mound. I mean, the ball is literally below my feet. I mean, like as I'm standing, it's 15 inches. I swing, I literally whiff it, but luckily enough of a whiff to the force goes up in there and it trundles back to the fairway. It went 4 yards dead sideways. My guys are laughing. My caddy goes, that's a hard way to start. I said, it's golf. I said, what do we do now? He said, well, don't do that again. So he said, hit it 180. We hit it 180. He said, hit this 160. It went to 4 feet. I was the only guy in the group that made par.
Love it.
And so I think that's that part of the attraction too. You're going to face challenges you won't see, not just because you're in Ireland or Scotland or wherever, but links golf courses, especially the real ones, they don't finish it like you do a country club. There's places your ball's not supposed to go and you're not going to like it if it does. We think that's a good way to play it, to face those challenges. So you're 82 because you pick in place. No, you shoot 89, you shoot 90. But man, weren't the challenges fun? How about the 2 shots you pulled off? Left-handed, sideways, downhill, whatever. So,
well, I know Deej said just welcome back on your most recent trip, and to that point, where did you go on this one, and what made this one different from other past expeditions overseas?
Well, the first and foremost for our group, first one to Ireland. Some of the guys had been to Ireland on either business or with family trips. 2 had been on golf trips, but 6 of us had not. So Ireland was all new. Love Scotland, been 3 times. Love the people, love the country, love the culture. But Ireland, top of the food chain for me. Just a lot of those same reasons. The people from Dublin, downtown, Fitzwilliam Hotel to, we did the Guinness tour, so forth. But when you got out into those rural areas and the caddies, the servers at the restaurants, people as we walked around the village there at Slieve Donner and RCD, and I mean, they're literally, thanks for coming over. I coach college golf. I mentioned we have a pro-am. Ted Schultz used to play on tour, coaches at Louisville. We're downtown Dublin, headed to go watch hurling. I didn't say curling, but to watch hurling because Pat Leahy played that, our driver. And we're at a stoplight, a crossing, and this kid says, hey, you boys from the States? Yes. He says, I went to university. I said, where'd you go? University of Louisville. I said, Ted Schultz. He goes, you know Schultz? I said, yes. And we end up with this 5-minute conference. He walks with us all the way to where we're going to watch this game. So that part was just the people. But with our courses, we stayed at the Fitzwilliam, we stayed at Galgorm Resort, and we stayed at Slieve Donner. I don't know who put it together, but it was like A plus, and then no grade can be placed on. Golf courses, I think we ran the gamut. I don't know all of Ireland's golf courses, so you can help me. But we started at Island Club, phenomenal. I still say to this day, that first hole was the perfect first hole for our group. Straight away, dead into the fan, 400 yards, some hills and look in the high grass, and it was like, welcome to Ireland. Wind was blowing 18 to 20-ish, so nothing. It just was a great welcome. But then that course and seeing the water and getting over on the holes where they told us the foundation of the original landing and clubhouse used to be over there by the water, so forth. So just a great start. County Louth, oh my goodness, what a great walk. Again, we haven't seen the others yet, but we did not know this thing was building literally to a crescendo. I think from there, I may mix them up, but I think then was Port Marnock. And then from there, I believe was Royal Port Rush.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, when you get there and it says open championship signs and the bleachers, okay, the juices get going. I mean, they just do. To the point, hitting into a net that bothered nobody. When they said, well, gentlemen, we don't have a range, but we do have a net you can hit to. You might as well have said there's no broth to the soup. Who cares? Nobody cared. And it was just game on, and knowing where you're walking, who's coming, who's been there before, all that. And listen, our caddy, my caddy, I guess it was, he says, we're the ones who failed. He was crowd control on 18 fairway on Sunday for Shane Lowry. He was a volunteer. That was one of his assignments. There was something about that walk, where they've been, that if you're a golfer, just speaks to your core. Then Port Stewart, again, that first tee shot, I was told to wait for this. You're going to love this, but that was phenomenal. Ardglass was something, and we stood up on the top of and we're taking pictures over the first tee up to the first hole, and it's just, you stop for a second, you go, hang on, that's it. That's 1,000 years ago. If that doesn't resonate, something's wrong. And then the setting, I'm not sure that setting, it may not be on par with RCD from the standpoint you're looking at the Irish Sea, I think the whole day. And then to get to play a brand new hole, it was the first day they opened, new number 16. That was pretty cool. We had a guy have to chip over the halfway house, which was also really cool. Hadn't seen that done many times before. Then I think from there we do RCD. Guys, that experience is like none other I've ever had. And I've been spoiled to go to places. We played the old course, played Carnoustie twice. We played Muirfield. That place just speaks to the soul if you're a golfer. The gorse and the coloring. I don't know if it was you guys in January or somebody said, you're going to be in Ireland, you're going to stand on a tee box and not know which way to hit it. And there were times that was the case. And so if he had told me to hit it the opposite direction, I would have trusted him and known that wherever was over that hill was going to be spectacular. But the waterfront, the mountains, the setting. And I got to be honest, one of the coolest things to our group, you walk out of the Sleeve Donard, this 5-star hotel, with your clubs on your back because the driver's not driving you 200 yards. And you walk on the crushed gravel through what looks like a cemetery gate that says Royal County down, and you're at the #1 golf course in the world. That's surreal. And you're like, boom. So the lineup just built. And it was a lot like 15. I think we were due to play Jubilee maybe if we had not got the ballot. And when Martin Gray, I believe was our driver, informs us on Thursday coming off Kingsbarn, gentlemen, I'm glad to alert you that you will be on the old course at 7:30. This was the same kind of thing. The pulled left drive on one notwithstanding, it was just surreal. So phenomenal lineup of courses. I do think the housing played a role in it. I think the quality of food. The number one thing, I'll say this, you guys know this better than I do, chemistry on these trips is the key. We had 8 guys that just loved each other. Yes, we're a faith-based group, so there was some of that as mixed, but there was just this vibe. Nobody hijacked it with bad golf, good golf, ego. It was really, really good.
You're just touching on something there that we talk so much about here on the podcast, for say group captains putting trips together, and it's the value that has, that you, so much of what you just talked about is about people. You went, yes, that explanation on the golf, but so much of these trips, whether it's the locals or who was on the trip, are built around people.
And even little nuances, picking wines at dinner, adjusting. If you want to adjust, do we want to eat that? Hey, somebody says, well, let's go eat there. Or, I thought we were doing this at 3. Guys, what do you want to do? Group dynamics, we're good. What do you want to do? We got guys who no alcohol. They love Guinness Tour. They thoroughly loved it. It's just a key piece. Where you sit on the bus. Some guys played cards. All that contributes to a good trip. And you're right. It's hard to tell a guy no, especially in our case, a nonprofit. And we're doing this with donors. when we send out the invite, they're all network. Hey, did you hear NCCA is going to Ireland? Oh, I want to go. Oh, no. But we didn't have to deal with that at all. And that's an unknown blessing for any planner.
Well, as I was looking at the trip or the itinerary and thinking back to your previous trips, the ones before had been, I won't say golf centric, but you had played golf, I think, every day. And I think some years you even tacked on like bonus golf, like on the fly. This year, you built in a day off, and you just mentioned it again, a storehouse, and that's what got me thinking about it. What prompted that choice, and how did it go that day?
Your memory's good. And we played 36, 3 days. We played 8 days straight, 36, 3 of them. I mean, in all honesty, by about day 6, you're swinging and walking, which is okay. But when you drop that kind of dime to take that kind of experience, you'd like to feel engaged. I don't even know if tour guys are capable. We're not capable of 7, 8 days of golf in a row, especially hard golf. So we didn't do that, but we intentionally said, all right, we are older. I mean, I'm 10 years older than when we went in 15. So part of it was, we're going to travel 7 hours. You wore out when you land. We're going to stay awake, all that. When's that break day? And I know that when Luke with our staff was helping put it together with Chris and H&B, it was like, what day? And I think, I may be wrong, but I think Port Marnock, we could only play Monday or something like that. And so I think it was going to be Monday because we were going to do it Sunday. And they said, no, we can't get on there Sunday. Then we'll rest Sunday. And that worked out perfect. We had played 2 days, but we had been weary that first day. And we're in Dublin. That was our last full day in Dublin. What a day, guys. Some just went shopping. Some did different things. But together we were going to do the Guinness tour. And then we let that kind of launch the rest of the day. And when Pat Leahy said, hey, I want to introduce you all to hurling, and my team, Cork, is going to be on TV at 4. So we went to maybe Grogan's Bar, some pub there, and they can't understand why 8 Americans are watching hurling while right on the other side of the wall, they're watching Liverpool and Tottenham. And I'm a soccer guy, and I'm more interested in that, but I'm learning this game, and we're having a blast. It was a great day off. Some guys rested. Some guys after Guinness just crashed and said, well, where are we for dinner? We'll meet you at 6. Fine. Nobody had to do anything. I think it was an incredible exhale, especially for what was to come. The Galgorn was a shot in the arm. I'm just, again, from the time you arrive, you get it. Like, all right, this is special. And then the same thing that Sleeve Donard. There's this expectation that now this thing's building from Ardglass to here. I think it gave us our legs. I don't think nobody was exhausted when we were done on Friday at RCD. We felt like we didn't want to play Saturday. We felt like, man, it's not the icing on the cake. It's part of the cake. But I think the Sunday played a key role in it. Because the other thing is that at least for us, we're seeing a whole new culture. There's too much. Some guys walked into town after RCD before dinner just to go see the little town, so forth. So I think that's part of the experience as well.
That's amazing. And kind of to your first point there, and as DJ mentioned, I mean, one of the big things that a lot of our groups talk about when they're post-expedition is, oh my goodness, we packed a lot of golf in, especially for your first trip. You get it. Like, yeah, this thought process is, this is going to be my one and only opportunity. And I want to, get off as many bucket list courses and top, Golf Digest rated courses. And like I said, we get it as planners, but there is that point of like, how many times are you playing 7 rounds of golf in 7 days, and some of which are 36 whole days? You got to get on a treadmill beforehand and prepare, because it takes a beating to your body, and why we go back to, you should take the day off. And, a lot of our post surveys are, a lot of them are pack less, but the other second one is don't play as much golf.
Well, I think that we had 6 guys get massages our arrival day at Galgorn. I think our dinner was at 7. We got there at 4. We had 6 guys at 5 o'clock therapy appointments, and then we're sitting at dinner, and everybody's like, I should have gone for 90 minutes. So you do learn that. I think the other thing about that, though, too, I can learn a lot from doing life with you guys on a golf course, especially walking. but I can learn a lot sitting in a pub or in a lounge or in the hotel or in our room or walking the grounds or walking Dublin, just doing life with you. If we don't walk Dublin, I don't meet this kid from Louisville. I'd have missed that. Seriously, that was too cool. I think it's a trip. You can call it a golf trip, but it's a journey. I love the word expedition. You need to, for an expedition, you need to pace yourself. I would say the same with these trips.
Amazing. Great stuff. And I mean, the one thing that I also wanted to, we wanted to chat about is your driver hosts. I mean, we talked a little bit about them on past expeditions. I wanted to see, how important are they to the group overall on the days off, on your days playing golf? Speaking to that, it sounds like you've got some great insight and what have you.
My trifecta to a great expedition, no kiss up, Haversham Baker, a good driver, as in the person, and good caddies. Every day you're going to do life with that driver. Every single day. It's critical. And if you treat them as if they're an outsider and they're just serving you, shame on you. He's part of our group, Martin Gray. Martin Gray's in my phone from 2015. Lyle Smith from 2018. I reach out to him every Christmas. My first trip, part of that for me, history was I wasn't going to get to go. I had a chunk of cancer. They found it. They took it out of my arm. No way. You got a hole in your arm. You can't go. God's got a sense of humor. One of the guys going is an orthopedic surgeon. And he convinces my plastic surgeon who had done the skin graft, hey, I can do compression wraps and I can keep it clean. I'll take care of him so we get to go. If I had not met Martin Gray in 2015, my life's less. Period. That guy became a friend to the point our daughter had been over there and had already warned me I was going to fall in love with Scotland. She had done her last one semester, I guess, of her master's was at University of Glasgow and part-time University of St. Andrews. So she had already warned me. Well, she left some clothes at her where she was staying in Glasgow as she hurried to check out and fly home from her semester. And the landlord wouldn't send them to her. She wasn't going to post them and send them, even if Courtney sent the money. Martin hears me talking to my daughter. I said, it's okay. He said, can you get me the address? He knew exactly where it was. He knew the landlord. And 2 weeks after I got back, here comes the clothes. He played golf with us one day. We had one of our guys who was tired. I didn't have a clue. Martin Gray was a good senior golfer. He was a player in Scotland until his caddy sees him on the first tee and goes, Martin Gray? And we're like, hold it. You never told us. Well, of course he didn't. He's like a war hero. He's not going to tell you about his experiences. So Martin, they just set the trip. They become part of your team. Lyle Smith did, and Pat Leahy, same thing. We've really gotten in the habit. We invite them to dinner. We tell them, what nights will you eat with us? We're not going to force it, but what nights will you eat with us? Our last meal at the Grange in 2018 with Lyle Smith, I'm a sanguine. And golf podcast can't have tears, so I won't tell too long. But it's one of the greatest experiences of my life, period, to hear that guy share his journey, his story. And for it to end with him at the airport Saturday morning going, you rejuvenated my soul, gentlemen. I want to thank you. That's why he's in my phone. Pat Leahy will stay there too. From the beginning, first day, how can we help? No, I'll get that. You need extra euros? I've got it. Give me, if you don't mind giving me your card and your code, I'll pick them up while you're playing. We've got you an extra massage set up. We changed your reservation time. Phenomenal. They're a tour guide. They're not a driver. And we integrate them with us. I think they're key. I think you pick the right group to do your tour. You get a really good driver, and then the caddies, they just make the walk. Well, did they read every putt right? No. And I'm glad because I don't putt them all right either. We had to have something to blame. But they tell you they're straight. They're not an American kid trying to get a big tip that's going to kiss up to you. They're just going to tell you. And my greatest one to this day still is at Kingsbarn. I'll never forget it. Hole 7. I'm a 1 handicap at the time. I ought to be playing better. I haven't hit the club face in 6 holes. And John was my caddy, 22-year-old plus 2 handicap. I think he was the player. And I'm looking at this shot. He said, do you think should I just cut the 5-iron or take the 6 and chase it? He says, I don't care, but if you'll hit it as good as you describe it, we'll be all right. And I said, I love you, and proceeded to take the 6-iron, chase it on the green, and turn the whole round around. And the caddies help make the walk. And the same thing, if you treat them as you're my indentured servant, shame on you. They are literally your expedition guide for 4 hours. They will either get you around that place or they won't. And you will determine that in the first 3 holes how you treat them. So I think they're critical. The driver's your first host. That's who you see at the airport. He's greeting your group. Don't minimize that. I would look at him as a partner from the time you hit the ground. And we have, and it's made our trips better. There's no doubt about it.
Partner is a great word, and it's a powerful word. And it's why we, when you hear us talk about golf courses and hotels and caddies and concierge and so forth, we call them partners, because that's exactly what they are. Because we know, our travelers don't always know when they come to us, but we know that that's what they're delivering to you, everything you just described.
100%. And I think it makes the trip better. How would you like to be on a bus with a guy all week, or a charter or coach, whatever? I wouldn't call it a bus. I mean, it's pretty comfortable. We got a guy who could sleep every day on it, and not converse with him, not have him be part of the banter. I mean, from Sunday on, we're all giving him grief. We say, hey, we really enjoyed that curling match. We kept putting a C on it. He said, it's not curling. Oh, what is it again, Pat? And and then when he tells the guy, so hold it, you need to be in Cork Saturday at noon. Well, when I drop you, I'm going straight there. Don't get a car. He didn't have to do that. And both guys said they took 30 minutes to sign off with him. He stayed and talked, met the wives, and I mean, just top shelf.
So, chatting with you here and having obviously talked with you so much in the past, I think one of the things I've always kind of admired about you, and when I talk with you, Dan, is that should be pretty clear to anyone listening that you kind of embrace a mindset of being a lifelong learner. I'm curious what these trips have taught you, either as a golfer or a traveler, or just as a guy that's on a journey.
Well, the learning part is true. It's like my wife. I started growing up in North Carolina. I'm currently growing up in South Carolina. And I say that jokingly, but I hear my life philosophy that when I'm grown up, put me under. Because until then, I want to be a kid on an expedition, to use your word. That's all I'm on. I'm supposed to be learning every day. Seriously. And what I've learned, first of all, I am spoiled rotten with amazing friends. That's the first thing I've learned from these expeditions. People that I've just gotten to do life with. To learn more about them, shed tears, shared laughter, laugh, watch their shanks, their double bogeys, their hole outs from 100 yards for a 6. We're celebrating. Just doing life, breaking bread, having meals together, all that. Number 2, those people aren't just the one I traveled with. It's not just my party. It's not our group. It is the Scotsmans I met. It's the folks in Ireland. It's people from other countries we met in those. So part of that is there's a lot of great people to do life with in this world. There's also a lot to see. I came back and everybody's asking, and I took some time, my second night home. What did I miss? I cannot believe I missed the Book of Kells in Dublin. A person of faith, to miss that. So now my wife is like, well, we could go back. That Galgoyne sounds like a place I'd like. I said, well, it is. She said, you wouldn't have to take your clubs. I said, that's true. Don't have to take a fork to dinner, but it helps it go better. So, but we've already started talking. Maybe we do that. The things that I didn't see. I had heard a giant causeway. What if we had not done that? And Pat said, no, you want to see this. It started that whole day off. It really did. To go see that, then head to the golf course. The other part of it does relate to what we said a while ago. Links golf is going to push your imagination, and it forces you to learn, to endure, to overcome, to take the lucky breaks. I mean, you hit shot. Oh man, caddy, that may not be too bad. And you get up there and you got 10 feet, and you figured you were probably somewhere down in the giant causeway, and you're not. And then you hit other shots. That ought to be good. He said, well, there's a ridge in front of that green. It's really going to depend. And you get up there and you're 70 yards short because you didn't carry it 2 more feet. And it's at the bottom of a hill. And you want to go, that's links golf. It's not a bad break. It's not crappy. It's not unfair. So part of it is digesting that. World's a big place. World's a big place. But if you're willing, it gets smaller one trip at a time.
Love it. Kind of one of the last things here too we'll chat about, and this being golf and the good life. Any off-course moments, meals, or conversations that have kind of really stuck with you throughout your past expeditions overseas, Dan?
Yeah, I think it was called, I'm almost certain, it's right when you turn to go out to Nairn. But there's a little restaurant on the corner. I want to say it was called like the Library or something or another. We're there after playing Nairn, which was really cool. I found the first, Mizuno's a major sponsor with NCCA and especially our Pro-Am. I didn't know they even made golf balls, and I found one. I texted a picture from the golf course to Bill Price at Mizuno Corporate in Atlanta, and I said, "You're holding out on us." We've been giving Mizuno golf balls away at our Pro-Am ever since, starting in 2016. But we walk into this little restaurant, and it was just this quaint place. And here's a former professor at one of our member universities from down in Florida who was a part-time golf coach. And he goes, "What are you doing here?" I said, "What are you doing here?" And he's there with friends who invited him. I'm the same. So food, we were coming from Carnoustie over to St. Andrews in 15 to stay. We'd come down from Inverness at the King's Mill Inn or something maybe, and we played Carnoustie, we're going over to St. Andrews to check into the Old Course Hotel, and we didn't have reservations that night. We weren't certain about the time. You want to eat in Carnoustie, and we're traveling somewhere through this town right before we head into St. Andrews, and we stop at some fish place. Martin Gray knew about it. They knew him, so we walked in the door. Phenomenal. Ann Struther. Oh, it's like magic, man. I'm telling you. David Copperfield fish and chips. So good. That dinner the night I mentioned before when Lyle Smith shared at the Grange. If the Grange, first of all, what an experience to be in that old farmhouse, literally farm to table. The meal was phenomenal, the whole presentation, but that night with those guys, off the chart. Rusacks. That was our last meal in 15. We had stayed at Old Course Hotel. We wore jackets, went up to have dinner, and we're sitting there, raining the whole walk up. Now it's cleared. And it's 8:45 at night, and we're watching 10 to 12 golfers walking, one guy with his dog that stops every time he stopped and put his bag down. It's like Field of Dreams. Is this heaven? No, it's St. Andrews. And you just get a sense, this is different. One thing I didn't mention, I think golf is still blue collar over there, which I really, really, really like. You talk to these members who are great. They love greeting you at their club. Well, join. It's only, I don't want to give away any of the club secrets. You won't believe it on US dollars. Hold it. You can join here for what? The caddies are members? Are you kidding me? But this trip, again, Royal County Down put a topping for the golf. Brunel's in that little town, and Villa Vinci the night before. Oh, again, this 5-star dining, and you don't have to have that to make the trip, but it doesn't hurt the trip. Harbor Bar, and they put us in the naughty room. We walked in and said, "Oh, we got you in the naughty room so I can keep an eye on you." We laughed about that. Pat joined us for dinner, and the laughs, I can still hear it echoing. And when we left, they said, "Y'all weren't naughty enough." They said, "Well, we wanted to be welcome back." They said, "The naughtier you are, the more you can come back." We said, "Well, then have 2 more rounds." Whatever. Again, the places you had us staying, you don't have to leave Galgorn and go eat anywhere. Between Gillies and Fratelli's, you don't have to go anywhere. The Fitzwilliam breakfast, you do want to eat. You are tired. You need the calories. It's good when it's good. It's also good when they understand the breakfast people know golf. They know you're heading out. You got to go, quick service. The evening people also know, hey, chill out, Americans. Take about an hour and a half to 2 hours and enjoy your stay with us. And they almost become part of your evening. The servers do, which is also, I think, good. So it is part of the whole package. And probably a thing that can be missed if you're not careful. Eat well. There's too many good places. Don't miss that. And I think that's, again, where I go back. Before you go, just realize it's going to be more than golf. It just is. It's like a family vacation. You can plan all you want. Something's going to happen you never planned. It's maybe one of the greatest memories of every vacation you've ever had. There's something, man, we never planned that. Well, that's going to happen on Expedition.
Well, one that comes to mind that I had forgotten about until just the other day. I came across your picture with about four other gentlemen on the West Sands Beach in St. Andrews at sunrise, hitting golf balls into the sea.
Martin Gray.
And that was your driving range because you had hit the ballot. None of that was planned.
One of the same guy that did not play on Thursday, that did not play London Links, he was tired. Kingsley Wintage, he gave Martin his spot and played. When Kingsley found out Friday night, we had the ballot. So what time will we go to the range tomorrow? This was after dinner. There won't be a range available tomorrow at 7:30. Oh, and Kingsley was disappointed, not complaining, didn't fuss. Martin read. Again, you build a relationship with this guy. And we get on the van, we drive over, and he has a bag, like a Walmart plastic bag with about 20 balls in every bag, and said, here you go, gentlemen. I have a private range for you this morning. And I'm telling you, that's one of the most surrealist things in the world. You're sitting there and you look behind you and there's the old course. There's St. Andrews. And you turn around and I think it's the Firth, whatever it's called, and we hit golf ball and we all turned to Scott True, David Miller. We looked at each other and went, how in the world did this happen? And it was part of an incredible memory from the whole day. Just this walk, playing that course. I don't know and I wasn't familiar with this. I guess there's a little game that if a caddy takes a player around and under par, there's some bonus that waits at the caddy barn. I didn't know that until I'm 5 under after 4 holes, guys. I make a 20-footer on 1, a 15-footer on 2, a 12-footer on 3, get up and down on 4, make it from like 120 feet on 5. And it's like Caddyshack. The heavy stuff's not coming. I'm not quitting. And I'm back to even par by 14. and I'm counting them. Get up and down all the way through, par the road hole, which was cool. And my caddy goes, we got to get a birdie here. And he had been not good all day, but now he was engaged. Get up there. I hit a good drive left of Russix, which is all you got to do. And I'm looking over the Valley of Sin. The hole's right behind it. There's 150 people sitting on stone walls eating lunch. It's 11:30. And he said, you got 2 plays here. He said, I know you like to putt it. He said, but I think you're really probably ought to take the 60 and hit that nip it. Just really clip it. So the turf and my golf club need to interact well if I'm going to nip it. I said, if I hit this thin, I'm going to kill a local. He said, no, you won't. They're watching. They know you're from America already. So we take the 60, nip it to about 3 feet, go up. I watch my playing partners play tennis up and over the green, tap it in. People start clapping. We're walking. And my caddy's high-fiving everybody. We head for the car park, and here comes the caddies walking up from the parking lot. And I said, hey, you're all giddy. He said, he got whatever it was like 160 pounds. And so that's what we're taking in that night at Russix. Golf is not an elevated, elitist thing over there. It's a common man's game, a common women's game there too. And that's back to the very first question. That's probably why I like Scotland and Ireland. It's a lot like tobacco country of North Carolina where I grew up.
Well, Dan, we have covered some ground, and I just can't thank you enough for kicking us off with this interview series that we're trying to get going in the way that you have. But we're always looking ahead. And for everything that you just talked about, what's still on your list?
I'd love to go back to Ireland. Several guys said, hey, you know what, the only thing, because we evaluate. We, just like you guys sent survey, tell us good, bad, whatever. We had got there. I would love to drop a couple of courses and play some courses twice. They talked about that. Okay. Let's hear that as organizers. But I do want to get to Dublin. I want to see Book of Kells. I want to see that. My son's born on St. Patrick's Day. I took a picture of the cathedral. I'd like to go there. I'd really like to go there with him and walk through that. I really want my wife to see Royal Dornoch. No clubs needed, because that place is just the best. I think we'll go back to Ireland. It was too good. The guys who went, some of them I know would go again. Probably not next year. 27, maybe 28. But there's other guys that were waiting lists by the time we got to this point. We haven't done England yet. And we had several people on this trip say, don't step over, don't miss England. There's some great golf there. I think if I put it at the top of the coin for us right now, I would say we'll be back in Ireland, Lord willing, sometime between now and 2028, 29. I'd like to see that again. We may or may not play Royal County down. I'd love to. But there's also something about playing that place once is almost good enough.
And not to mention, you got 2 more corners of Ireland that you haven't even touched.
I keep saying it wrong geographically, DJ. I'm glad I said southeast. It's not. It would be southwest. Ballybunion and Lahinch and Waterville and Oldhead and Tralee and you start naming those, and then people say, well, there's some other courses don't overlook. And it's like, guys, don't we have to go back? Don't we owe it? I'll stay there. I keep coming back to that. I think part of it because it's so fresh, but it got into our system, and I'm glad it did.
Well, Dan, we really, really appreciate your time. This has been an amazing time to sit down with you and chat about this past expeditions and ones before that. And yeah, for DJ and I, as well as H&B and all the other members that are listening to this, we really appreciate it. And thanks so much for your time and sharing. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Well, thank you guys for being top of the spear. And I mean that. You do it well. Even our donors made the comment, said, man, what an incredible trip, Luke, you and Dan put together. Luke's our director of advancement who did most of the work on this. And we were like, yeah, this is an H&B trip that NCCA utilized, but thank you guys. You set the standard. And I think for all golfers, all that have gone, all that should go, hopefully all that will go, thank you guys for doing that. You've made going there seem easier. You really have.
Well, there's no better way to end it, I guess, than that. Dan, thank you again. We appreciate all the time and look forward to more memories down the road as well.
As we say, slancha.
Slancha. And a special thanks once again to Dan Wood for kicking off our Just Returned series in such great fashion. If you'd like to share your own stories, questions, or feedback as it relates to golf travel across the pond, we have an easy new option to do so. Just head to haversham.com/podcast and record your message. We would love to include you in a future episode. In the meantime, thanks as always for tuning in. We will be back again soon with another episode, but until then, we wish you plenty of golf at its finest and life at its best.